Welcome back to Read It with Riss. Today we will be reading stories from r/EntitledParents. Our first story is from u/Autumn Gemstone, entitled, A Karen Tries to Bully Me into Giving Her Spawn Candy. I Accidentally Shatter Her Marriage. Okay, so I am a frequent cruiser of the subreddit, but I never thought I'd actually have my own story to tell on it. I'm still not completely convinced if it wasn't a fever dream. If not for a neighbor dropping by to ask me what the hell happened last night, I probably would have dismissed it as a fever dream. But enough preface, let's get into it. So I was hoping thanks to COVID this wouldn't be a problem, but the kids in my neighborhood keep coming to my door on Halloween for candy. Every year I tell them that, no, I am not giving it out and to go somewhere else. I've gone so far as to put out signs telling them to shove off and leave me alone every October. But the little bastards just seem to take it as a challenge. They'll repeatedly ring the doorbell until I come out or get bored. Once they went 5 whole minutes before they went away. Or keep coming back to my place after I tell them no, hoping I'll change my mind. I never do. This year, one particularly persistent little brat from the next cul-de-sac over, who's made it her mission to wear me down for candy every year, rings the doorbell and I tell her nicely, or as nicely as you can tell someone who repeatedly ignores the big red sign saying that my house is not for trick-or-treating, that I don't have any candy. She looks at me with what she probably thought were adorable puppy eyes and asks me if I would mind checking. I tell her there is absolutely no candy in my house, nor will there ever be. This was a lie, but she didn't need to know that. Then the little monster gets into her head that I'm lying and keeps asking me if I'm sure. I tell her that I'm diabetic. I'm not, but apparently she doesn't know what that means. One Google search on my phone later, and she accuses me of lying about having it. I am, but that's not the point. I suppose I could have just given her a Hershey bar, but I really didn't want her spreading the triumphant news to all the other little monsters of how she finally got the mean lady to succumb to her will at the risk of any of them following in her example. So I just tell her that I don't have to give candy to anyone who's going to be so rude as to deny my very serious medical condition, and close the door. About an hour later, I am hate watching the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula movie. It's a train wreck, but I can't help watching it. When I get another ring on the doorbell, I come down to find the little abomination peeking out from behind the legs of a very angry-looking entitled mother. The following exchange goes down. I say, "How can I help you, ma'am?" The entitled mom responds, "My daughter says you repeatedly refuse to give her candy." I say, "I'm sorry, I don't have any." The entitled mom responds, "The callous attitude towards the festivities is unacceptable. It's Halloween. You should have been prepared for it." I say, "I didn't think any kids would be trick-or-treating this year thanks to a certain virus." EM responds, "Hell, after everything they've been through, we as a community owe it to them to make up for all of the fun they've missed out on this year." I say, "Look, I get where you're coming from, but it's 10 p.m. I'm not going to get up and go pick up a bag of Tootsie Rolls at this ungodly hour so that your kid can have the full Halloween experience. It's here that Mommy Dearest takes it upon herself to give me a lecture on the importance of participating in the community." I told her that maybe if she wasn't such an entitled Karen, her husband would be more eager to participate in the bedroom with her instead of me. This is where I may have been kind of an a-hole. What I said was nothing more than a heat-of-the-moment remark, but the woman went absolutely ballistic upon hearing it. She freaked out and started screaming about whether or not her husband was sleeping with me. Apparently the guy actually did go on some kind of business trip recently, and my little quip self set off all red flags in her head. She starts demanding to know if her hubby was in my house, trying to crane her neck around me to see inside, and shrieking at him to come out. At this point, I'm tired. I'm on the verge of a food coma from all of the grocery store goodies I've binged on, and I'm 100% done with all of this. So I tell her to come back with a warrant and shut the door on her in spite of her attempts to wedge her way in. I can still hear her meltdown on my way up the stairs, now joined in disharmony with her daughter demanding to know what's going on. I look out the window of my bedroom to see her angrily punching in a number on her phone, dialing up who I think was her husband. The poor man got an earful. I didn't catch everything she said, but at one point she mentioned something about how he has no business cheating on her when she could have taken advantage of his absence with her brother-in-law after he came on to her at their anniversary party, but she spared his feelings by not doing anything about it. She's being so loud that she draws the attention of other trick-or-treating families in the neighborhood. Anybody unfortunate enough to ask what's going on gets treated to a first-hand soundbite of her marital problems. One neighbor goes as far as to come out of his house and ask her to take this someplace else where she isn't disrupting the ambiance. This prompts her to turn her wrath on him and shrieks at him to mind his own beeswax. The poor man barely gets away with his life. It was like watching an episode of Maury unfolding, if Maury Povich was an elderly Asian man. At this point, I was seriously scared that she was going to try and break into my house, looking for proof her hubby was there. I considered coming out and admitting to her that I was just yanking her chain, but the ball was already in motion and I doubted whether my confession would save her marriage at this point. Fortunately, after she ended the call, she stormed off with her now hysterical crotch goblin in tears. I felt bad for turning what could have been such a fun night for the kid into such a traumatic experience, but maybe she'll know now to not knock on my door next year. Our next story from r/EntitledParents is by u/Agent Orange 666, entitled Racist Mom Gets Karma. So a former coworker of mine told me this story about 2 years ago when he used to work at GameStop, and I thought I'd put it here. I'll refer to him as Clark. It was the last hour of his shift, and he had about 4 to 5 people in line buying their items. Then KKK Karen arrives. I spell Karen with 3 Ks because I think it's funny for the story. She's looking around, and all the while she keeps giving him the stink eye. He doesn't give it much thought because he's already dealt with all sorts of people while working there. She then gets a game, walks up, cuts in line, and slams the game down and goes, "I want to buy this for my son." He, kind of surprised that happened, goes, "You'll need to get to the back of the line. It won't take too long." She begins to turn red, and the people behind her are already annoyed. "No, I don't wait in lines. Let me talk to your manager." Clark says, as calmly as he can, "The manager's not here. Please go to the back of the line or leave without the game." KKK Karen then throws the game on the ground, goes towards the door, and turns to him and everyone in line and shouts, "I'm never coming here again. And you all shouldn't waste your time buying anything from this," inserts insulting word towards Hispanic people here. Everyone in the store was shocked, and she stormed out. She got about 40 feet and tripped into a puddle, and everyone laughed at her when it had happened. The end. Our final story from r/EntitledParents is by u/r/and Reddit fan, entitled Entitled Mother Attempts Hit and Run Because I Wouldn't Give Her Kid My Bike. So for some backstory, I'm a 17-year-old boy, and I ride my bike everywhere. And on this particular day, I rode all the way to the other side of my hometown, 6 miles from my house. I stopped by the mall to give myself some food, because, well, obvious reasons. When I got out of the food court serves as the mall entrance too, and got back to my bike, I saw this middle-aged woman with the Karen cut, cheap sunglasses, and tacky clothes with her kid, a girl with shortish blonde hair who looked to be between the ages of 8 and 12, who seemed confused and excited at the same time. They were standing near my bike, so I decided to walk over and find out why. I said, "Hey, excuse me, what are you doing near my bike?" The Karen responds, "Oh, it's yours? We were just checking it out. EK, entitled kid, has always wanted a bike." I respond, Sorry, it's not for sale. It's my only mode of transportation at the moment. I'm sure you can find something nice at Walmart or Target, though." Karen answers, "We weren't planning on buying a bike. We were hoping you could give us this one." I laugh. She must be joking, right? Why would she want this pink and purple and silver bike that's literally falling apart? Nope, she wasn't joking. Karen says, "What's so funny? I'm serious. If you don't want to give it to us, I might have to take it from you." I laugh again and get on my bike. I say, "Sorry, lady, you're crazy. Go buy one. Now fuck off and leave me alone before I call the cops. There's literally a police station not even a block away from the mall." Karen answers, "If you won't give us your bike, then fine. Have it your way." I ride off before she can even get in her car, because that sounded threatening, and I was starting to get a bit scared of this crazy old woman. She and her daughter, who looked disappointed at that point, get in the car, and right as I get out of the mall parking lot and up to the crosswalk where I have the right-of-way, I see Karen's huge SUV, a black Cadillac Escalade, peel out of the parking lot and speed down the street that I'm crossing. Fortunately for me, she didn't hit me on my bike, but she almost did. Literally only an inch closer to her car, and I probably would not be here right now. She literally tried to run me over. What the actual fuck is wrong with her? Was she trying to kill me? She screams at me through her window. No words, just angry screaming. And then she hits another car at about 40-ish miles per hour, it looked like. The people she hit were fine, just shaken up and angry. I didn't even need to call the police because they heard the bang from the crash and came over ASAP. Karen's Escalade only had some slight damage on the front, grille, bumper, and hood. That's about it. While the car she hit, a dark blue Toyota Prius, was totaled. One of the officers who showed pulled aside to ask me what had happened and to see if I knew anything, basically to get a statement from me. I told this man everything. After giving my statement to the police, I left. The last thing I saw before leaving the scene was Karen being pulled out of the car and her daughter being escorted to the sidewalk while waiting for a relative to get her. All I have to say after this incident is just, if you see a Karen inspecting your vehicles/modes of transportation, run. Take your shit and run. Don't even allow the Karens to speak to you. Thank you for joining us today for Reddit with Briss. If you liked our stories, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment.